Alright, folks, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host, Josh, and this is part 45 of our Let's Play of The Letter. When we last left off, we had... Oh, this face. We had finished things off with Ashton here. Basically, we got caught back up with Isabella and Mary Ann. We all met in the kitchen. The house sort of stopped making any physical sense. We were going from one room to another that aren't, like, actually connected. And then we finally made our way back to the foyer, and there we ran into Luke, who's like, all freaked out because there are people breaking into his home. Luke and Ash get in a sort of gunfight. They both got their guns pointed at each other. We have Ashton decide, like, okay, I'm not going to disarm him. Instead, we're just going to try to get him to listen that there's, like, a greater enemy here. There's something spooky going on. And then right as we're kind of in the middle of that negotiation, all of a sudden Hannah appears in the foyer, and behind her is Little Miss Ghoul, Little Miss Ring Girl, just kind of holding on to her. And right as we get there, it cuts and we go to Luke. And so now we are picking up here with Luke Wright, the final chapter. Let's see where this goes. To say that I'm scared of what's happening is a gross understatement. I mean, to not be able to go to the tasting in Cardiff? I don't actually know when we are right now. Trouble of any sort is the last thing I want to get home to after a long day at work and a trip to the bar. And when I see Hannah near prostrate, I can only feel dread. She twitches and ceases, body wound and coiled tight before trashing, shuddering and shaking. So this is maybe catching up from right at the end of Hannah's chapter? Like a woman possessed, her mouth falls open and her eyes roll to the back of her head. It has the hallmark signs of a seizure. The symptoms are similar enough. And that knowledge, the fact that I know this, only makes me feel worse. Any anger I had caused by our disagreement on parting ways, no matter how temporary she claimed it to be, disappeared. The alcohol-induced daze that I felt was brushed aside as I run to help her. None of that mattered at the moment. But to hold her close is all I can do while she trashes about. I know this is wrong, that I'm not supposed to hold her down, yet I do it out of instinct, reflex even. I'm terrified of hurting her, but I see no other way to keep Hannah from hurting herself. It takes a lot to keep myself from running off to get help when she needs me here. It takes everything I have to keep myself intact. When she says my name, I realize that the seizures have stopped, but that doesn't make the dread go away.
Please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
The sight of her tear-streaked face is enough to twist the knife in. Does not help that I'm as lost as she is right now, and all I can say is...
Shh, it's alright. You're safe now, Hannah. You're safe now.
Okay, so we're October 29th on Saturday. Oh, there we go. Okay. So when was that with Hannah? That was the 28th, or was that the 29th? 28th is the party, so I think it's the next day then. Maybe? Breakfast, Hannah asks Luke for a break. Yep. Yeah, and then it's this here, right? Hannah called Rebecca Gills. Here's a cry from the... Yep. Okay, so. Here we go. Takes a bit to go through the house with my inebriated self. That's even made worse by the fact that I had to carry a nearly unconscious person as well. I was about to give up, too, up until Shrokin shows up to lighten the load. He quietly takes her from me without question and brings her up to the bedroom. And me? Well, I couldn't bring myself to follow. Not right now. Okay, so I think it's safe to presume then, from what we learned in Ash's chapter then, Hannah's in some kind of weird state because of the ghoul thing. And then probably that night, she's, like, disappeared. And that's why Johans was, like, freaking out and asking Ash, what did you do with the lady? Not while I'm drunk and rattled by what had transpired. It's a miracle I was able to help at all. So here I am, sulking in a parlor chair with a glass of wine in hand. Can't even remember what particular vintage it is, and I practically did not care right now.
Because when you're already drunk and still have problems, even more alcohol should help.
That's what they say, if a little is good, surely a lot is better. Of course, the butler chooses to appear and be unhelpful.
You know what actually solves all problems? Death. but it is not recommended.
Why not?
Alcohol isn't a true solution either.
It's worked well enough for me.
No, it hasn't. I'd like to believe that I get my best ideas when I'm thoroughly hammered. Not everyone might agree, but they can't really do anything about it, can they? With a fuck ton of money comes great power. Sometimes responsibility. And with that responsibility comes a lot of reasons to get drunk. Of course, I can just tell responsibility to sod off if I was feeling reckless. Christ, I must be really drunk if I'm thinking in circles. I just need something to focus on and I should be fine.
How is she? Is she alright?
A panic crept to my voice at the question. I don't let it show. You're a master. It would be a show of weakness to be so frazzled. To show so much concern over a woman who's going to put me aside. People like him who work for me, I trust with business, but not with myself. Never with that. Only Hannah has come so close. Only she has truly seen the man beneath the facade. Only her actions can wound me so.
Sleeping. Aside from a few bumps and bruises, she seems to be fine. A maid is watching over her for now. It is best not to leave her alone. But, if I may ask, what happened? I was in the gardens when I heard screaming. Did you...
Still don't trust Johans one bit.
No, it wasn't me.
I wouldn't abuse her. I'm quick to be on the defensive. I may be capable of a lot of horrible things, but I would never harm her, of all people, no matter how angry I might become. I would never lay a hand on her to hurt her.
I didn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even have a reason to.
Yeah, you have no motive to hurt Hannah. There's nothing that's happened recently that might give you ample cause.
You don't consider her wanting to be a part as reason?
It is it. Well, it is. I don't want to talk about it right now. But what happens was I got home. She was seasoned in the kitchens. Is she ill?
Not that kind of doctor. But I've already scheduled your physician for a house call tomorrow morning.
What kind of doctor are you? Doctor of death?
We'll still have to monitor her as soon as she wakes up and...
Oh god, things are coming back to me. I need a drink.
Really? You're still drinking?
Why, yes, it seems to be the bloody best time to be drinking. I'm allowed, aren't I? After all, I've just found my wife having a seizure, and I shouldn't give two shits about it. Not when she's about to leave me.
But I do. Goodness, I do. A big generous gulp just smash drink. Just makes it so that the taste of cherries, raspberries, and strawberries wash over my tongue. The thing too sweet considering its deceptively earthy aroma. Villain's Vineyard, seasoned red, isn't really something to scoff at. I've had many good memories with this particular drink. This particular bottle, in fact, was a gift. It serves the purpose Lady Blernon had given it to me for, to forget. All the same, whether I took this bottle or a Pinot Noir, it is just a means to an end. I'll probably have to finish the whole bottle to get drunker than I already am.
But no, she doesn't need to be taken care of. If she wants her time apart, she'll have it.
It'll break my heart to just let her go, but she deserves this much, doesn't she? We both deserve this much.
She's had her uses.
God! You can't really... This can't really be the way that you feel. She's done a lot for me in the 7 years we've been together. I pursued her at first for the money. It was supposed to be strictly business. There might have been a time, too, when I considered taking her out of the picture so that I can do with the money as I please. Jesus! I had planned to manipulate her, and I feel horrible thinking about it. True, it tears me to bits, the fact that I was gonna kill her. But along the way, I had changed, if only for her. Perhaps my father would scoff, tell me I've gone soft. Maybe I have. Does it matter? 7 long years. It had its ups and downs, and it certainly hasn't been a perfect marriage. We had our fights, who hasn't? But those small moments where we could just laugh and be our happy selves were always magical. They made all these years worth it, and I had seen many more years to come. So where did I go wrong? I've only loved 2 women in my life. Who's the other? Oh, Mother dear, bless her soul. And Hannah, who has been my sunshine for so long. Losing her, I feel I might become more like my father. Had Damien Wright stayed with Mother or any of the other numerous women he's had a child with, would he have been less of an embittered shell of a man? Would having a darling love in his life made him a better person? Oh, so here we get another rich person who, if Daddy had only hugged him more. Perhaps it is bias of me to doubt so. I don't think I can ever see the old man in a favorable light.
I'm just surprised that you're not afraid. She might be leaving with delicate information.
So, you're saying we should take her out, Johans. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, she might know something. But if she hasn't done anything with the knowledge for this long, I don't think she would do anything now. If she had even an inkling of what I've done, what I'm capable of, she'll know it's not a good idea. Hana's a smart woman.
Smart, kind, hardworking, generous, loyal. I can go on and wax poetic about her if I had any talent with the stuff.
Why don't you sit down and have a drink with me? Don't worry, it's not poisoned or anything.
Lonely? Oh, I suppose there's no harm.
With a shake of my head, I procure another glass and pour some of the red wine. Watching the red liquid is fascinating all on its own with my muddled brain, that I barely notice sloshing some of it and staining my suit. It'll be an utter bugger to clean, so I'm glad that it isn't my problem. Handing it over, I can't help but look up at the ceiling and let out a sigh. My eyes, damp, glaze over, though I won't let it go further than that. Raising my own glass for a toast, I clear my
We
throat.
drink to... Do we really need a reason to? The world is messed up. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and love lost. The world is a cesspool.
What a wonderful person you are, Luke.
Might as well be drunk if we're going to drown in it.
A bit less eloquent than your usual speeches, but zum Wohl.
A sip. A gulp. A refill. Rinse and repeat until the bottle of ale has nearly a fifth left. I must have drunk most of it because I barely see Stroken take a sip after his first glass. It certainly feels that way. I don't even think I can stand up, let alone walk. I'm all legless. My mind just feels so funny and everything else is equally hilarious. Bloody hell, I think I can make out faces of a bald man on the wallpapers. With the butler also standing up, he looks like a skyscraper from where I'm seated.
Jesus Christ, I have Sasquatch as a butler.
I have a great alcohol tolerance, so this, seeing how I assume really bad. If there is any sober part of me left, it'd probably shrivel up and die just thinking of the hangover that'll come in the morning. But I can't help but get distracted at the sight of moonlight peeking through the curtains, shiny and shimmery and absolutely splendid. Even if the night brought calm, it is the moon that's always enamored me so. It is a second sun, but just as beautiful as my
I
sunshine.
want to go out and look at the moon. Mommy, I can't feel my legs.
It feels like almost too much, but then I guess that's what we're going for here.
Mutter, I am not. Don't tell me I have to carry you upstairs to bed.
You know, Hana, she told that photo man that I was a trying husband. I can't even.
How do you know that?
The nerve of them, right? He goes and takes her out shopping, and they give me lip service in return. I bet they were talking shite while they were in the store spending my money. Am I a trying husband, Joe?
I wouldn't know. You're not my husband, are you?
But as like an employer, definitely.
But you are a trying Dummkopf when you are this drunk.
I didn't even do nothing. I did my best to behave decent.
Yeah, explain the whole thing with Rochelle.
Whiskey and Mint are just good friends, that's all. And that Rochelle woman's baby isn't mine. I swear, I couldn't love any other woman than Hana. Hana must be so tired. I'm a brat, aren't I? She said as such.
You definitely are.
I don't want Hana to leave me, Joe.
Then you should have been a better person.
Oh God, she's the love of my life, you know? I'm a shy human being without her.
You're a shy
I
human
should-
being with her.
Flowers. Lots and lots of flowers. All of the flowers. Enough to make the Queen's Gardens look like a fucking dumpster fire in comparison.
Alright, now we're talking.
All well and good. But you are not achieving any of that while you are lying on the carpet. Now, if you can lift your skinny ass and work with me. 1, 2, 3.
but I don't want to go to bed. The moon is so pretty tonight.
Mommy, I want to look at the moon some more.
I should just let you sleep on the ground, Bratwurst.
You should. I mean, why are you even still here?
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty face from day to day.
Oh, apparently you're not as bad at poetry as you, made yourself out to be. Alright. So this is the very end of the 29th, it seems like, pretty much. Right before the BRC heist. Okay.
Come on, Mummy, wake up! I want to be in that play. Mummy, wake up! You promised that you'd help me practice my lines today. The auditions are tomorrow, so I have to practice.
I didn't know you were an actor, Luke. Maybe we have more in common than I thought.
The last syllables of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools. The way to Dusty. Mummy, are you...
I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. Oh, I already don't like where I think this is going. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy, though, when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hug the sheets, Hana.
She always did this, though it hardly bothers me. Growing up, I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Besides, the warmth that Hannah exuded on her own is usually good enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it feels right now. I must be considerate. After all, the poor dear is ill, though I loathe to think about what had just transpired.
Don't make me pull those sheets off you. That blanket is large enough to cover an elephant. You need to share.
Takes a while.
What was that, honey? Apologies. I'm just in a loo, so if you can give me a moment.
Yeah. This is, There's no sign that they'll be moving where they lie. What? With a care, I go for a knife hidden under the side of my bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair, because reaching out to uncover who is underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. If I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be a murder tonight. I know they say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, but I think I can sink a blade in his silver faster than he can point and aim. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I hear their breathing. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get Hannah and myself out of here, not look back and let security handle it. That's what they're here for. Or maybe I should just man up. There's no way I'm risking the chance the inaction will put Hannah in danger. What's the worst that can happen, right? I've no reason to be afraid. There's no boogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me, right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Let's get a frightening pillow. There we go. So, I get this weird sense from the girl here that, like, she's trying to, like, replace Hannah. That's just sort of a general sense I get from some of the stuff I've seen, which is, like, very weird and creepy, but must be my imagination, rather than not think I'm going mad. Could very well be the stress getting me, all this drama with Hannah. I've been doing well all these years, all things considered. I guess I do have a breaking point. But still, the world goes on even if one cannot, and I must go along with it. I suppose a day or two off tomorrow wouldn't hurt. Rest aside from a few hours of sleep will be welcome. More than. But I can't shake off the unease. I dare say that I feel afraid, irrationally so, that something will come creeping and crawling from under the bed, even as I lay back down and close my eyes. Moving on to Sunday. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully. But with morning comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. Let no one doubt. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaches even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only good thing is that this ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed, heading straight for the main door. I believe this is Zach? There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. Gee, you need to calm down with the murder, Lick. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour.
Yep, because I do remember this, and I remember it was after this time that I looked up what Gordon Bennett was. I know it's some, like, British insult that has to do with some historical figure, some, like, newspaper writer or something. Something like that. I don't remember fully. In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
There's that damn butler when I need him.
I'll be honest, if only for today. You're never honest, other than. With the mansion this quiet, at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how long Hannah's patience with me will last after the incident at the party. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side in the hour. He dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger. Before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect, if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know...
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
I mean, I'm sure Zach is at least vaguely aware of what the time is. This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hannah's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting, even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it, with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually, he leaves, and silence once again fills the room, as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental, just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him, left roaming the immediate grounds, nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. I'll probably have him arrested and then killed. Worst comes to worst, Shrokin will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand, a hangover. Maybe I'll have some absinthe to temper it, dog hairs, or some wine to help get me back to sleep. It's still early. 1 glass won't hurt. Or 2. Luke, I'm starting to get worried, man. I think you might have a drinking problem. I don't know. I'm seeing some worrying signs. Whatever the case, I need to think, wherever that will lead me to. It's nothing. Everything leads to nothing. Except for this pounding headache, as if my mind will burst at any time and leak out my ears. My vision swims in and out of view. My stomach threatens rebellion, with plans of making me throw up, what remains of the food I've taken last night. With how my mouth feels, you assume it's filled with cotton. One would think that the fact that I'm hungover would make me the grumpiest person in the room. But as soon as Shrokin knocks and enters the room, the thought goes right out the window, and I can only follow when he gestures towards the hallway. I have questions as to why he would bother me at this hour in the morning. But going by the grim, or rather, grimmer than usual air about him, it must be something serious. The man stands there as relaxed and cool as can be, but his eyes hold an intensity that promises nothing but trouble.
I do hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
No, I was just brooding.
Well, I have plans. Slipping in is one of them, too. But apparently, the world conspires against me. What do you want?
If you wish to sleep so badly, feel free to tuck yourself back in bed. But I thought you ought to know that we've had an intruder.
And sue me if that doesn't pique my curiosity. Intruders, thieves who would dare set foot into my house, try to rob me, were rare. If they had any form of experience, they'd have an idea not to mess with the rights, no matter how tempting our riches may be. But that did not mean attempted robberies did not happen. What was strange about this one is the fact that Stroken thought it was important to bring it to my attention. Oftentimes they deal with the pest because I wouldn't really care how they take care of it, so...
This needs my attention, why? Are they any danger?
Actually, I think I'll let you be the judge of that. He's down in the parlor. Come on.
Ooh, are we gonna talk with him? I glance at the bedroom door, hoping to goodness that Hannah will remain fast asleep before following him down the stairs. Through the foyer, and into the parlor, where a familiar man sits unconscious, tied up to one of the
I
chairs.
thought I heard something scurrying around. As it turns out, it's a giant rat. And one that had pretended to be a harmless mouse, too.
I don't think you get to call him that, Johannes. Aww. It's that photographer from Luxury Living. What was his name? Okay, so this is... Okay, so this is right before he's gonna go visit the jail. Makes sense. Steal? Did they not pay the man enough for his photos and he'd have to resort to stealing? Of course, what other reasons are there to explain his presence? Certainly none that I can think of. No doubt he had seen such finery during his little photo shoot and thought he could make off with a good amount. Wouldn't it have made more sense that that was the idea, that he would have taken something while he was doing the tour? I wouldn't blame him, really. But it is a disappointment that he would fall so low and prove stereotypes true. God, Luke! Trust a black man to be a thief, after all.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
Oh. I'm sorry. I'm just bothered by it. It's hard to tell with the way his body is too still, bright, breast too light. But it is there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you for not murdering him, Johannes. A death caused by one of my men is normal. To be expected, really. A dead body I can deal with. It'll just be the one of many I've seen. But if one turns up while the missus isn't home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive. Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
No, this is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
If he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place. He is to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once, and everyone thinks they can get away with taking advantage. His thieving ways is going to be his one-way ticket behind bars. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize that the sun is starting to rise off into the horizon. I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Thankfully, he leaves me to my own simmering as I take one of the free seats, and while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. I can see why Hannah took an interest to him. I admit, there's something oddly attractive about him.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Hannah is nice, but that doesn't mean she befriended every John and Jane from the street.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Look at the man you called a perfect gentleman now, dearest.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
A friend who takes advantage of someone who has shown them kindness. Truly, such soft hearts cannot survive in this world for long. Hannah is only so lucky that I am here for her. Who better to protect her from monsters than the worst of them all? Steel. That's his name, isn't it? He's big, built like a bear. Thought as much when I first saw him. More of a teddy bear rather than a grizzly, if I cared to be honest. Would have laughed in his face if he told me he was a photographer and had nothing to show to prove it. Going by appearances alone, I'd say he could very well be a common street thug, sort that I'd hire to be plain muscle. But the laugh lines and the softness around his cheeks, just his general air, has me wondering. How long will a man like him survive in a place like prison? Not that I care, of course. I've seen weaker, spineless, and even innocent fools for the police and the courts to be punished. And as it always does when I'm in such a situation, the power I wield hits me like an unnatural high. It's something else when I can hold a man's life in my hand without resorting to murder. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make luxury living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. Deep in my thoughts, stuck in this power trip that rushes through me, I barely notice we have company until Shrocken puts a cup of coffee in my hands.
Officer Carl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
And as he says, there are 2 officers by the door, though I can't even bother to spare them the slightest of glance before looking back at the unconscious gollywog.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Whew. Alright, well, this is... we're proving out pretty quickly that this is going to be a tough one for me to have to read through. Such a terrible person. Could be fun in its own way, though. Alright, well, that is going to have to do it for today's part. Please join me next time. Until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will see you all next time.